Have you ever thought, I eat clean, I take care of myself, so why in the heck am I so tired all the time? If you've had those thoughts, then I am pleased to say you are absolutely in the right spot. Hi girls, welcome back to a new video. Today we are going to be chatting all about why you're always tired, even if you eat clean, and some hormone smart energy tips. Hi there, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Jessica and I am a clinical and functional nutritionist. Typically I do vlog style content here on my channel, but today we are going to roll up our sleeves and talk all about energy. In my clinical nutrition practice, I hear this number one complaint on a daily basis, truly multiple times per day. So we're going to dig in on all of the hidden reasons as to why you may be struggling with low energy, even if you're implementing the healthy lifestyle tips that you watch on my channel. Also, if this type of content seems like it would resonate with you, go ahead and hit subscribe over here on the screen because I post videos every single Thursday, all related to hormone health and wellness tips and the ways that you can integrate these in your lifestyle from a clinical nutritionist. So let's start off with why you're still tired. The number one reason I see in my practice as to why women are still tired is because they're eating clean, but they are underfueling their bodies. This can look a few different ways. Either they're on a low protein or a low carb diet, or they are doing extended fasting and skipping breakfast. Those tend to be the main culprits that I see in my clinical practice. So even if you're eating clean, if you're eating salads, drinking smoothies, drinking the fresh juices, but you're under eating important macro and micronutrients, your body over time will feel exhausted and run down. So it is so important to be conscientious of not only the type of calories that you're getting, but that you're getting substantial amount of calories into your diet at the right time of the day. Also, I know that so frequently we're skipping breakfast, we're doing extended fasting, and then we don't start eating the bulk of our nutrients until later in the day. I'm not sure about you, but as a busy mom, as a business owner, and as a content creator, I need my energy earlier in the day. So if I'm bulking all of my calories from 3 to 7 p.m., that's not serving me and my cognition and what my body needs earlier in the day. My body needs those calories earlier in the day to get that energy going, to support my metabolism, and to mainly support my cognition. So this is a big one that I see in practice, that people are under eating. Even if it's clean, healthy foods, you still need enough of it. I am a huge fan of strategic nutrition. You can check out any of my What I Eat in a Day videos. I will have those playlists linked for you up here in the cards, as well as the description box down below, where you can gather endless inspiration on how to properly nourish and fuel your body. But the number one most important tip that I have here is to be intuitive, to listen to what's working for you and serving you and your body. If you feel energized and you feel like you have a boost after you eat a meal, I would double down on those type of recipes because clearly your body is responding and resonating with these ingredients. The next very sneaky one that can come in and surprise many of us is over-caffeinating, and especially doing so on an empty stomach. Now, if you're a subscriber of my channel, then I know you're starting your day with the lemon ginger tonic, which is the way we start our day every single day. You're flushing out that bile, you are revving up your metabolism, and you are nourishing your digestive system. And then hopefully you are moving into my protein coffee recipe, which is loaded with 35 grams of protein. So to be honest with you, you wouldn't have to worry about this because you're getting full and nourished from your first coffee of the day if it is a protein coffee. But what I see clinically in my practice is that people are reaching for that first, that second, that third cup of coffee to get that boost. And unfortunately, if we are underfueling our body, like the last tip, and we're doing so alongside multiple cups of coffee, this can leave us in a situation where we're feeling run down and exhausted. It feels counterintuitive because you're consuming the caffeine, you're thinking you're going to give yourself a boost, but that's not the way the body works. Unfortunately, that overstimulation and overuse of caffeine is a hindrance on the endocrine system. The next thing that's quite a hindrance on the endocrine system is over exercising and not doing so in alignment and tailoring it with our cycle. I have talked about cycle syncing, again, not to plug more of my videos, but I'm hopeful that they are a helpful resource for you, so I am going to continue to do so. I do have a complete cycle syncing playlist here on my channel of what foods to eat, and I think it's a really helpful tool for you. Similarly, tailoring our exercises to our cycle is so important. So when you can tailor your movement based on your cycle, we talk about this a ton inside my membership site, Living Well. You can join today absolutely free for 2 weeks. Other than that, it is 40 cents a day. There are thousands of recipes and the most incredible community. The girls that you see here in the comment section, they're all over inside Living Well, and they are sharing the most unbelievable inspiration on a daily basis. So we talk about this quite a bit, about syncing our workouts, because if we're doing really intense workouts during our luteal phase or during menstruation, we're actually working against our energy and our nervous system. And so because our progesterone is high and our estrogen is low, when we do these types of workouts, it's counterintuitive to our body and it depletes us faster. So this is one that I see a lot, and I see this often in my practice, that women are doing the same workout, 30 days out of the month. They're going to Barry's boot camp or they're going to Orange Theory and they're really hitting it hard, and they're not sure why they feel run down at the end of the day. That's because our bodies work on an infradian rhythm and not a circadian rhythm. So when we can align our movement to our cycle, you will feel a tremendous shift in your energy. When you work alongside of your body rather than against it, it will help you feel that sustained energy throughout the month. And it's a really smart hormone saving tip that'll preserve your energy. And one of the last main factors that I see as to why we feel tired all of the time, even if we're getting our steps in, we're hydrating properly, and we're fueling ourselves in a clean capacity and hitting our protein goals. What might this last tip be as to why we're still feeling absolutely zapped and exhausted? It's because we're living in a high stress state. Now, I am somebody who can often overfill my plate and bring on a lot of self-inflicted stress because I get excited about something, I get passionate, I open up space in my nutrition practice to take on more clients. I want to be at every single field trip, be involved with the PTA, be involved with my community, be the best friend that I can be, show up for my family, show up for those in my community. So I know that sometimes I can take on too much, and I know you girls, and I know that sometimes you feel the same way. And unfortunately, what this can do is it can leave us living in a really high stress state, even if we're unaware of it. However, if you do have the Oura Ring, I would encourage you to take a peek at those insights. But this level of adrenal stress can absolutely spike our cortisol and have us living in a state of high cortisol. I talk about this quite a bit on my channel, and we did talk about resetting and balancing in last week's video, so that would be a good one to check out after today. But that prolonged stress on our adrenal glands is really counterintuitive to helping our hormones be in cycle and in tune with each other. So deducing our stress, which we're going to get to, all of my favorite tips and tricks, but I did want to call out the top 4 things that I see clinically in my practice as to why we're still feeling tired. So to run through those again, it's eating clean, but underfueling, over caffeinating, especially on an empty stomach, over exercising, not tailoring those workouts to our cycle, and living in a high stress state. So sometimes, most of the time, it's not about eating cleaner. That's that huge misconception, right? That I'm so tired all the time, I gotta clean up my diet. That is, quite frankly, not always the case. This is all individualized, but in my community and in my practice, that's the case 30% of the time. The other 70% comes to under eating, over exercising, over caffeinating, and taking on too much. And so it's about supporting your biology differently and in a different capacity, not necessarily restructuring and cleaning up your entire diet. So these are some of my favorite hormone smart energy anchors that I see tend to work 99.9% of the time. And so I always say nutrition is never a one size fits all. However, I do find that these anchors tend to move the needle more than you would think. So my first evidence-based practice that I see work time and time again, also speaking from personal experience, is a high protein, mineral rich breakfast within 60 minutes of waking. So you've had your protein coffee, then within an hour of that, have a high protein, mineral rich breakfast. Again, I have tons and tons and tons of videos, hundreds of videos here on my channel, if you want to watch those and gather some inspiration. Otherwise, inside Living Well, we do have hundreds of recipes that could support you on this journey. But getting in those proteins and minerals first thing in the morning are going to help pull up your energy levels right away. Next to that, this is something I've been talking about for 7+ years on my channel. You can watch my older videos, but don't. I've definitely grown and felt more comfortable on camera over time. But even in my earliest videos, I was preaching this, that morning sunlight indirectly, look up into the sky, not directly at the sun, indirectly at the sun, and getting that light into your eyes. I've also been sharing on how I've been using my red light therapy mask in the dark, cold winter months when there was no sunlight. For the first 3 hours I was awake, I would wear my red light therapy mask and I would get that light into my eyes. And what this does is it helps elevate our cortisol. I know we just talked about that in a negative connotation, but this elevates our morning cortisol so that we have higher cortisol in the morning, and then we have a beautiful bell curve as the day progresses. We don't want our cortisol like a Disney roller coaster where it's up and down and up and down. We want our cortisol to be high in the morning and then reduce and deduce throughout the day. That beautiful bell curve, and morning light exposure is one of the easiest ways, and it's completely free to do so. So if you have a red light therapy mask or a red light wand or a box, I will have my favorite red light therapy devices linked for you in the description box down below, as well as my discount code. But this is such a beautiful practice to help anchor your energy in the morning. Then as you move through to your mid-afternoon, a way that we can stabilize our energy is with adaptogens. I am the biggest fan of adaptogens, using things like rhodiola, maca, ashwagandha. These adaptogens help to sustain our energy. Lion's mane, tulsi, lemon balm. All of these adaptogens work to stabilize our energy throughout the day. And they are, as they sound, adaptogens, meaning they go into my body versus your body, and they work with our individual biology. So they are indeed modulators. So they will go in and work with your body differently than they do with mine. That's why I recommend testing out different adaptogens to see which ones work best for you. I thrive on rhodiola and lion's mane. I love to take ashwagandha a little bit more in the evening time, but all of these adaptogens go in and help boost our natural energy levels. And then another incredible anchor for me is magnesium, because I use this at night to get the most incredible, deep, restful sleep. This video is not in collaboration with BioOptimizers, but I do take the BioOptimizers Magnesium Breakthrough every single day, morning, noon, and night, but I take 2 at night before bed to get the most incredible, deep, restful sleep. So these anchors are something that I use throughout my day, and they are tactile. They are something that I hope you're jotting down, you're taking notes, because these are real life routines and shifts that you can make to begin to help your body produce more sustainable and more reliable energy throughout the day. Now, I do have to say that there are symptoms that we should absolutely not ignore if we are experiencing extremely low energy every single day, and it feels like this has been something that's been consistent for a prolonged period of time. So if you are having constant bloating or cravings, and it has been something that has progressed and or not changed in 90 days, that's something we want to take a deeper look at. Similarly, if you're feeling wired at night and tired in the morning, and it's not just few and far in between, this is consistent and something that you experience on a near daily basis, again, for around 90 to 120 days, that's something, again, that I would want us to take a deeper look at. In addition to that, needing caffeine to function. If you are somebody who can absolutely not function without caffeine, then I would recommend that we take a peek at what's happening under the hood. That's what I always say. When we pull your labs, these are the things that we would take a deeper look at if you're somebody who can absolutely not function without caffeine. And then lastly, if you're not recovering from workouts or you experience extremely poor sleep, you're somebody who cannot fall asleep, you cannot stay asleep, and you're suffering with some pretty debilitating sleep issues. If you fall under any of these categories, these are symptoms that I would quite frankly not ignore. If you have one, two, or multiple of these symptoms, then let me know in the comment section down below. Just be like, hey, Jessica, this is something I'm experiencing, and we can get you set up, because running labs is definitely something that's critically important. And when we can get to the root cause of your issues by running some strategic labs, it is unbelievable what we're able to find. So we can run your labs, we can put together a really beautiful and cohesive plan if you're somebody who's experiencing these symptoms that we don't want to ignore. So we have our most common causes for feeling exhausted that we went over. Then we went through our energy anchors throughout the day, how we're going to anchor our body to shift our energy long term versus just moving into quick fixes. Then we went over some symptoms to not ignore, because if you are somebody who has been experiencing this really prolonged exhaustion, I want to take a peek at your labs. I want us to get you on a really good trajectory where you feel supported, you feel energized, and we can move you to feeling like you're thriving and you're not just getting through to get by your days. That is not a way to live. And I can assure you that there is an answer to your symptoms. Common is not always normal, and your body is not broken. I can absolutely promise you that. We can uncover some really beautiful findings and make a few strategic changes to help you feel your absolute best. So before we close the video, let's talk about a few micro habits that I think will make a tremendous impact. Start your day with a lemon ginger tonic. You can put a little bit of salt under your tongue, drink that morning drink, flush your digestive system, flush out that bile in your liver, and get your metabolism going. Get that morning sunlight, we are moving into spring, or red light in and around your eyes to boost your circadian rhythm. Next, let's pay attention to our cycle and our movement. Either get in at least 15 to 20 minutes of gentle movement or HIIT workout, depending on where you are in your cycle. Get those steps in. If you can get your steps in, you can get outside, you can get some fresh air. It's going to change the trajectory of your day, truly. And then bring in those strategic adaptogens in the middle of the day, your mid-afternoon, to help you kind of get through that afternoon slump. You can bring in some lion's mane, some rhodiola, bring in those adaptogens. I'm a big fan of ginseng right now. My hyperfixation is ginseng tea currently, but bring in these adaptogens in the afternoon, whether it's with supplementation or with tea, and that'll help sustain your energy throughout the day. And then of course, get that beautiful, deep, restful sleep. And you can do so by bringing in things like ashwagandha and magnesium before bed. So therefore you can really get the rest that your body needs and deserves. So let me know in the comment section down below if you identified or if any of this sounded familiar, if it felt like, oh, she's talking directly to me, these things impact me and affect me. Then let me know one thing that you're going to do to help shift your energy. And of course, if you want a little bit more support, also let me know in the comment section down below. My lab services are honestly my favorite thing to do. I love looking at the blood work and helping tailor a plan specific to you. Your body is not broken. I can absolutely promise you that. And when we have the right tools and we have the right data, we build a plan and it goes together beautifully, absolutely beautifully. So I hope that you girls enjoyed today's video. And if you did, you can let me know by giving it a big thumbs up. And now the subscribe button is right over here on the screen. Give that a click. That way you don't miss a single video. And I hope to see you back here next Thursday.